take a look.
Well, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting over at 6 p.m. on Monday, December 14th, 2020. Please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So board members in person tonight are Amanda Qualls, Keith Goodman, Roger Nossinger, Mario Garber, and Brad Weddle. And we have Jose Elizalde joining us via Zoom. Can you hear us, Jose?
Yes, I can.
And that would be everyone. Felipe Marino will be unable to join us tonight. Just a few opening remarks. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated on agenda item number 4. Our mission. The mission of Goshen Community Schools is to inspire innovation, empowering potential, enriching our world, and our vision. Goshen Community Schools, Indiana's premier global school district of choice. Item 1.4, approval of tonight's agenda. Do we have any revisions to the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. And item 1.5, approval of the minutes of the November 23rd, 2020 regular meeting and the November 23rd, 2020 executive session. Do we have any revisions to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Moving on to item 2, superintendent's reports, and item 2.1, student and staff recognition.
Thank you. So our first person we'd like to recognize is Marcy Brandmeiser. Is Marcy here? Yes. So Marcy, as you can see, has been a busy lady. She has been making masks for our students. Do you want to show them what you?
They're the style, and have red on one side of the face and white on the other for them, with very nice, comfortable t-shirt material for the ear loops.
So she's made over 300 masks
Prior
to this, and then they're bringing more to us tonight.
These are, there's 400 for the senior class, but no one has done this for them. Junior class, if someone's already covered the senior class,
Okay,
etc.
perfect.
So whoever hasn't received them.
Yes, that's great.
So for donating all these masks, we'd like to recognize Marcy for the great work you're doing on this. So do you guys want to come down and get your picture taken with Marcy? I mean, we're gonna have to stand 6 feet apart, but they will.
Sorry,
You're
I'm
fine.
kind of sloppy looking.
Would you hold that? Here, you can hold that.
Oh,
There you go. Thank you so much. We just really appreciate all this work.
you're the new superintendent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'll take these back here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we'd like Brandy Sapp to come forward. Brandy is a Teach Plus member this year for the state of Indiana, and she had an article published in the South Bend Tribune that she had written, and I'm going to let Brandy tell you a little more about what she wrote. I read it. Very, very good.
So Teach Plus is a teacher advocacy fellowship, and we've had members from Goshen in the last few years, and so I'm lucky enough to be one this year. And my working group is focused on teacher preparation, and so my article in the South Bend Tribune was about getting teachers prepared to be in the classroom to improve retention of teachers, because if you're not prepared when you go into our classrooms, you're not going to have a successful experience, and you're going to leave, and we need every teacher that we can get. So yeah, that's what it was about.
It was very well written. So I'll let you go and present a little bit, Steve.
We have two that are not here
today, but Ruth Metcalf and Lauren Moore, we want to recognize. NIT came and did some videotaping several years ago at West Goshen, and we found out just in the last couple of weeks that their video of Ruth's instruction and Lauren's support as a mentor teacher to her during that time is now used in NIT's training all over the nation. So we wanted to recognize Lauren and Ruth for that great accomplishment.
Nationwide examples right here in Goshen.
Yeah, yeah. So we have certificates we'll make sure to get to them. So, yeah, and that's it. That's all.
All right. We will move on next to item 2.2, which is recognition of our outgoing board members.
So since Mr. Marino is not here, we'd just like to give a shout out to him. And I'll see him when he gets back. But Mr. Goodman, good job. So we'd like to thank you, Mr. Goodman, for your 4 years of great service to the Goshen Community Schools. And what I can say about Mr. Goodman is that he did not talk a lot, did not ask a lot of questions, but when he did talk, when he did ask questions, they were important. So he's been in it and do the very best work he can for Goshen Community Schools. He will continue to serve Goshen Community Schools on the Building Trades Commission, and perhaps in another capacity that we'll hear about soon. But here's a token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Just really appreciate everything you've done.
Thanks, Steve. You have a big speech?
Good luck. No. Thanks for everyone's support, and much appreciated. And it was a fun-filled 4 years, lots going on. So we'll see. Hopefully that'll keep everybody busy for the next 4.
All right, thank you, Keith. We'll move on to item 2.3, which is the Goshen Community Schools Holiday Giving Report.
There we go. Okay. Yes, every year, Goshen is a very giving community as a whole. Our schools exemplify that. I prepared a little board memo for you to talk about a couple different ways that our schools are giving back to the community. The athletic departments, softball, football, did the packing the food this last weekend. Those boxes have already been distributed to the schools for distribution. Model did a 2-hour drive-through food drive donation. 1,170 pounds of food they asked them to put it in your trunk. We'll get it right out of your trunk. We're given. Chamberlain, another example, not only giving food, but a lot of our staffs do gifts for families, adopt families, or work with our community partners, such as the Boys and Girls Club, the Window, our local churches, to provide Christmas for a number of our families. So last year we were able to, with food, we were able to hit about 420 families. We were hoping for more this year. I have not heard a final number, but Goshen just continues to exemplify what it means to be a community.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful to hear. And I mean, this time of year, it's always very critical. And the year that we've had, it's even more amplified. So that's great news. And thanks to all those that help support that. Going on, item 2.4, report on our preschool.
All right. I'm just really introducing. The preschool program has been around since about 2012. Mrs. Potter has been one of our preschool teachers, had been one of our preschool teachers for many years. So we're here today just to talk about what's happening in preschool now, what's happening with how COVID has maybe changed a little bit of that. However, I do want to point out that when you see pictures with people without masks, those are previous year pictures. Just make sure we get that clear.
I have that covered.
I will.
I have that covered.
So why is preschool important? You know, brain development, they say, you know, a human, go to the next page, please. They say that an average human brain finishes developing in the early 20s. However, why is preschool important? Because 90% of that brain development happens before age 5. So preschool, that early childhood education, is a key component for our students. And so now I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
Okie dokie. I thought maybe you were just gonna keep going. You
Nope.
were, well, I was good with that. That's all right. So we are happy to be here tonight. We have virtually here with us our 2 current preschool teachers who also do a rock star job, Karen Gerber and Cindy Schreiner. They are at home, getting healthy, being healthy. And Cindy worked with Natalie. They were a dynamic duo. And then Karen came on last year, was her first year in our preschool program. And she's doing a rock star job. And the 3 of them really worked together. And they would stand behind this graphic that talks about 90% of a child's brain is developed before age 5. I would say they would stand behind saying a huge portion of it is developed in that 2 to 4 year range, where those synapses are just clicking faster than you can think. And it is exciting. If you've never spent time in a preschool classroom, you should go. It's wickedly fun, it's exciting, and you will learn a lot. Our preschool started in 2012. It has impacted the lives of more than 550 students, which is remarkable. It was born out of a longtime vision of Dr. Staley, who wanted a preschool long before we got to open the doors. He wanted to impact the lives of our youngest learners and help them be prepared for kindergarten, help them be more prepared. We have a lot of great local faith-based preschools, but he wanted more for our kids, and he wanted Goshen Community Schools to be at the forefront of it with a quality program. We built that. We did a partnership. We had the best mentor of Head Start working with us, Kathy Waharda with Head Start. I walked to her. My history was in 5th grade, not preschool. And I said, what do I do? And she stood beside me and helped us build this. So our preschool looked a lot like Head Start, but with not quite as many federal regulations as they had. We just had the state regulations that Title I has, which are their own set of fun. So initially, we just served the 4 title schools that were our title schools at that time. Quickly, within 2 years, we were at all 7. So that made us school-wide, district-wide, and that was a joyous day that we were able to pull children from all 7 schools. We housed it at Prairie View because we had the room down there and 2 classrooms, and it was awesome. Natalie came in year 2. She came in year 2, and she served down there for 5 years, right? 6 years. Yeah, she was down there for 6 years, and she was a rock star. She helped solidify that. We went through a Tools of the Mind training, which talked about building executive function and that independent thinking for children and learning through play, which was huge. And we have 2 half-day sessions that are about 2.5 hours. We do a snack and a meal, and the things that these children learn and do and tell you as adults that how to do things are amazing. We capped the size at 17. We have 1 teacher and 1 pair in each class. That kept us within the standards that were acceptable for high quality. And 1 paraprofessional, Sandra Rodriguez, has been with us since day 1. And she is, so we've got a lot of stability in our program. Our people we don't have a lot of overturn. Natalie was with us for 6 years. Sandra has been with us for all 7. Cindy has been with us for, I think, 4 or 5 now. And Karen is never going to get to leave. And neither is Angie. So that's it. When they come in, I sort of make them sign a lifetime contract and say you stay forever because.
Sorry.
Huh?
I said I reneged.
She did, but she didn't go far and she still contributes. So she sort of has a halfway pass, but not really all the way out. A day in the life. This is where we're going to let Cindy and Karen talk a little bit about what it's like to be in preschool for a day. And as Alan stated, if you see pictures without masks, they were taken last year, pre-COVID. If you see the pictures with masks, those are from this year. They are following all the protocols. And let me tell you, 4-year-olds, I have a granddaughter who's 3 who's in a preschool where she wears her mask all the time. These little whippersnappers are really good about wearing their masks or wearing their face shields. They're great about it. They're very compliant. And these teachers are great role models in that. So Cindy and Karen, whoever's going to take lead, take it away. You have to unmute.
You gotta unmute, Cindy. Hi.
Okay. I'll go ahead and start. Karen, or do you want to?
Go ahead. And
Okay.
then I'll go after you.
Yeah. So like Mary Kay said, we have two sections. We have our morning and our afternoon. So our morning class starts out with a breakfast and our afternoon starts out with a lunch. And then we move into our opening group, which consists of calendar time and some freeze songs. And then we move into our story lab where we read a story and talk about the book. And then the kids can also do what's called buddy reading, where they each get a book and they read the pictures with each other. So that gives them some social skills there to talk with each other. We also do center time, which is a small group working on a specific goal, or like we can see the kids playing in the little sensory table, kids writing up on the board. We also have in the corner picture, Mrs. Schmucker is doing Minds in Motion with the kids. So once a week we get to go to a different room and they work on Minds in Motion. So different large motor skills, building those muscles up in there. And then the bulk of it is clip time, which is all pretend play that you'll get to see in another slide. So I don't know, Karen, if you got more to add.
Yeah, like up there with the baby, that's us teaching them how to wash and take care of a baby, because we do families is one of our themes that we do. So
One of the things.
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So in this part right here, what our parents are saying, so we asked some parents, past and present, to kind of tell us what their experience was at the preschool. We do parent visits in the beginning of the year before school starts. We go to their home. Obviously this year we did it at a distance. This way we can meet the families, see with these children's home, what homes they're coming from, get to know them so they're a little less nervous when they come to school on the first day. And then we keep connected with them throughout the year through FaceTime or Facebook, sorry, and we send them pretty much pictures daily on Facebook of what their children are doing. Anything else?
I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. Why don't you talk about family engagement and what's going on in the next one?
Do you have a slide for family engagement, Mary Kay? There was a slide that there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We try to plan something once a month to do a family engagement. And so in a normal year, we went, this year we went to Kirchers and we did it on a Friday. So the kids aren't at school on Friday. So the parents bring them to Kirchers and we do the whole field trip. We had, I think, Karen, 166 kids
Yes.
show up to that field trip, which Kirchers was a little overwhelmed, but they made work. So that just shows like how much these parents are really involved in their child's education. And last year we got to do a fun Christmas holiday event with our families where Santa actually showed up. We had crafts for them to make together. They got to decorate cookies. We've also done a preschool showcase where the kids have their parents come in on a Saturday. And they just kind of show them around the classroom, talk to them about what theme we might be working on. They can show them some work that they're doing. So the one picture shows the little boy at the fire station when we were doing community helpers, showing his dad what he would be, how he would be playing there. And then we have our end of the year graduation where the parents can come in. Obviously we do a little skit, a little graduation program for them. So we try to once a month do some kind of family event that gets the parents involved, and we always have a great turnout for it.
So why is preschool important?
I think you've really hit it on the head when you said their brain just is developing, absorbing so much. I mean, especially I think of these Spanish speaking kids that come in with no English, and how much we just say they're little sponges. They just are absorbing everything, and what they leave preschool with and all the English that they have learned. And I mean, it's fun, but they're learning. And I guess they don't realize that they're learning so much because we're having so much fun doing all of it.
I agree with that. And it's also socially, emotionally to get them ready for kindergarten. So when they start on the first day, they've already been in a classroom before, so they already are ready and prepared for that first day of kindergarten.
Okay, and then I wanted to leave like 30 seconds to a minute for Natalie to do a little bit of her wrap up on, after doing this for 6 years, what she felt was what her biggest takeaway was for doing preschool for 6 years with Cindy and with the team, and with what the biggest gift as she walks the building.
So one of the things that's really important to recognize is we're not just, when you talk about those 550 kids, what we're doing is building alliance with parents. Many of these are low-income families, and part of what comes with being a low-income family is you may have had some negative experiences in education yourself. That's part of the reason you're still struggling. And so we're helping these families reset that, how I feel about schools, while they're excited and passionate about their hopes and dreams for their little one. And so that's pretty cool. When we're able to watch parents say, I never had this, but I didn't know that Goshen Schools believes in me and my family. And that's the message that these guys are teaching those kids every day. And if we're able to have even those 68 families or those 68 kids, that takes a little bit of that pressure off the next year of our kindergarten teachers who are working just as hard to try and build that. We're able to do that in a way that is a genuine, giving, caring effort that these two are just natural at anyway, and to be able to say, yeah, we're here, how can we help? And if we can have our parents heading into educational experiences with that mindset, they're willing to listen when then we also call and say, yeah, you know, I've helped you with this and this, but this is going on and I need your help. Okay, so that means I need you to be sitting at the table and reading his homework with him every night, because I believe in him, and they do it. And we've been able to see that. Nationally, they say that anywhere between, different studies say the return on an investment in preschool education is anywhere from $4 to $9 on the $1 we invest, better than any stock market. But those are dollars, and I know those matter, but I like people. I like kids and families. And so to me, what better way is there to invest than to say, we believe in this, and that what we're about is not just helping this kid or teaching this little one here, but to be able to say, his family, we're modeling every day. They're sending home pictures of, today we did this, watch how I hold his hand to help him write. And parents are able to watch and see that, and we're seeing them start to do that. The more that we're using those tools in subtle ways to assist them and not to take over the job for them, the more productive it is. And then finally, just to be able to say, by the time those kids walk into kindergarten, already believing I'm a learner, and I know in this building I feel safe and I'm going to succeed, that's a huge part of the battle from the very beginning. So thank you all, especially for continuing to invest in that when you don't always see it, and people sometimes are like, yeah, but they're just playing. Which is how kids learn. It's how their brains work. And quite honestly, adults learn the best that way too. So all of us know it is a whole lot more fun to jump in and try it and do it than to just read it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have one little video to finish with that you will enjoy? I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
how to
this
make the
was-
video.
oh,
play.
this
David
was-
knows how to do that, right?
This
Oh,
was
David.
so awesome.
Obviously, this was pre-COVID. That was flash.
Do you have a sense of how many kindergartners that enter have not had preschool, the number or the percent? Do we have any sense?
It usually runs someplace around 40 to 45%.
Have not had it.
Goshen has a pretty good tradition of preschool availability. And so it's usually around that 45% or so that happen.
And with our potential more space in some buildings, is there any opportunity to expand that?
The potential is certainly there. It's whether or not we can fund that.
And I do know that one of the limiting factors, even the last couple of years, has been transportation. We got to be able to, that's what, I just know that's an issue.
It does require, as we work with state legislators, we could just constantly remind them that there is no greater return on investment. If we invested in, everything we could into preschool, we wouldn't have half the issues that we have on the road. It's a great investment.
Well, thank you all for that. It was wonderful to hear and see some of it. So, all right, we will move on to item 2.5, which is a third quarter financial report.
These are the toughest acts to follow. So, just a little update through September.
He's going to share it.
So whenever we talk about budget and where we're at financially, we always want to make sure that we remember, we do this a lot within the business office of making sure that we're student-centered and that the mission, vision, and values are looked at with every penny we spend and every dime that we ask for. It's really important that we always remember that. Sorry, I'm a little fast. Go back. So as of September, even though we've had a rough year, we were still 12% below our budget. And these are the funds that are our budgeted funds. And we still had less expenditures with $1.2 million in wages and benefit increases for 2021. We had, of course, large expenditures that we're on plan for PPE, which I think most of us didn't even really know what that meant. It used to be per pupil expenditure for us, and now all the protective equipment, technology, and increased utility expenses. Even despite that, we were still able to spend less money. We had, at this point, and this was only about 3 months, we had already realized $50,000 year-to-date savings in repairs and maintenance by bringing those in-house, by adding those additional maintenance folks and grounds people, even with their salaries. That's a net savings, and that was in about 3.5 months. We negotiated with property casualty and workman's comp because buses were on the road less, cars were on the road less, and our workman's comp, because even though we still paid the wages, we had less exposure, at least for normal workman's comp issues. So we were able to negotiate some discounts that were retroactive to the beginning of our policy. So that helped us with some savings as well.
Very good. Very good. Sorry about that.
So the funds that we talked about, these savings coming from were, when I was running it through, I don't think I had to hit it so many times, I apologize. Education, and that's the fund that covers the instructional expenses. Operations are that portion in general fund that was used for custodial, those type of things, kind of the overhead expenses. Debt, we have 2 debt funds. We have our regular debt funds, which are general obligation bonds, common school loans. We entered into a lease for capital equipment for computers. Operating referendum, which of course was what we passed a few years ago, and that was to cover some of our instructional costs and put money back to open the intermediate school. Our capital referendum, which is debt that is building all this, the new intermediate building, and then the rainy day fund. So again, this shows a breakdown. I know it's hard to see on the screen, but it is posted. Lori has posted it into the board docs. But you can see that that nearly 12% below the budget expenses equates to about $316,000 overall. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but we're going in the right direction. And we're even below when we look at our transfers. And as you recall, we are cutting our transfers this year from the education fund, which saves money for instruction. And next year, we are cutting that in half from where it was in the first year of 2019. So we're definitely going in the right direction. 74.5%, 75% is 3 out of every $4 we spend on instruction or instructional support. That is a huge number. That is a bigger number than the average by about 10%. Again, going in the right direction, we continue to increase that. Salaries and benefits overall is about 84%. When you take out debt and utilities, and I think it cut it off a little bit, but you can see the gist of it. We spend very little else on anything else besides debt, utilities, salaries, and benefits, which is where the money should be going. That's directly related to instruction. What are we doing in this last quarter that's almost up? We are working on our budget order to get that all prepared and ready to release. We went to zero-based budgeting, as we talked about over the summer, and we're reviewing all expenses and looking at them down to every penny that we're spending in department level budgets. We're continuing implementation of efficiencies. I'm looking at issuing several RFPs to get money back into the classroom. A lot of the recommendations that came out today from the teacher compensation report, there are 37 recommendations. I'm pleased to say we've implemented a lot of those already. So we're ahead of the game on that. Of course, getting intermediate school open for fall and updating long-term facilities and capital improvements plan. Our asphalt study is done. Our roofing study is done, and we'll be updating MEP. We'll be getting all of those reports back to the board in January, February. And again, more important than ever is reviewing our expense, making sure we're keeping that vision in sight, and increasing teacher compensation and maintaining the instructional support. Any questions?
So you said 74.5% of our expenses are instructional or support instruction, and that's 10% higher than the
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the year, but last year in our fiscal indicators, the state average was in the 60s.
So how are we able to do that? I mean, I think that's excellent. So how has Goshen been able to do that?
By looking at every penny to make sure that we're not spending more on the things, the energy savings that we've done. We've done a lot of cooperative purchasing where we're working with putting out the K-12 catalog, which is one of the suggestions, the K-12 purchasing initiative. We've already done that. Jessica Wildman was way ahead of doing that for years, even before I came here. Increasing revenue by refunding bonds, getting those lowest costs. So every time we look, we try to enhance and save money, bringing some, seems counterintuitive to hire another maintenance person, but it saves money. And sometimes it doesn't, but every time, and working with Dr. Hope and Dr. Metcalf, every time we look at a position, does it make sense? Does it save money if it's in operations? We'll say transportation, they've done a good job of going out there and finding the best bang for the buck on any kind of repair on buses and things like that. Negotiating, the finance staff, Cheryl Graves and Tanya Emma worked really hard to get money back. Asking the questions, can we get money back because we weren't driving the buses as much? School was shut down. Those kind of things. So $1 here, $5 there, and then we put it back in the classroom and raise it and supplies for teachers.
It's a whole lot of little things, but it's always going back to every time we make a decision, what's the budget impact of this decision going to be?
Well, we appreciate your stewardship of this and keeping it very organized. It's been a tough year and still not through it.
Got a great staff that has really been on the ball with this. So it's a team effort. Appreciate your support and Dr. Hope's support on it as well.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 3 for board committee reports and 3.1 Parks Department.
We'll have a meeting next Monday, so no report this time.
Okay. 3.2 Music Council, Mr. Elzalde.
We haven't met, so no report.
Thank you. 3.3 Athletic Council.
Next meeting is January, so no meeting today.
Okay. 3.4 Building Trades.
Building Trades is same as last, so no updates on that.
Okay. 3.5 Child Care.
No report, but we meet on Thursday.
Okay, thank you. 3.6 Goshen Community Schools Foundation.
We met last week, and as you know, we rescheduled the trivia night from earlier this year to March 23rd of 2021. We're obviously continuing to monitor that. So right now that's still the set date, but I just want to let everyone know that we're continuing to monitor the situation. And then I also just wanted to do a plug for the Goshen Schools Foundation website, which is goshenschoolsfoundation.org. There's been a lot of recent updates to the website, including to the donate page, and now people can give recurring gifts. So if anyone would like to support the foundation, you can do that there. A lot of our giving this year was disrupted, as is the case for many nonprofits. So just want to highlight that.
Thank you. 3.7 Legislation. Anything?
I don't think so.
We'll start up in a couple weeks.
Yep, we'll get going in January.
All right. 3.8 Goshen Redevelopment. We met last week. Nothing major, just some talk of some consolidation of a few TIF districts, which city likes their TIF districts. We really don't, but they're not going away. But really no big plans right now. And 3.9 Equity Inclusion Council.
So we met, was it last week or the week before? All weeks run together. But we have another meeting on Thursday. We're still very much in an information gathering phase. So we have sort of gone out to students and now to staff and teachers, and we're starting to analyze that information. So in January, we should have a really exciting update for you. More information.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to item 4, public comment. So if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak on a non-agenda item, please step forward. All right, seeing none, we will move on. Item 5, consent agenda items. Item 5.1, checks numbered 37591 through 37736. 305939 through 305972, 3003 through 3005, 1298 through 1299, 1040, and 60332 through 60336, and EFTs numbered 525903 through 527043. Item 5.2, acceptance of gifts and donations. Item 5.3, approval of 2021 insurance and dental rates. 5.4, acceptance of quote for snow plowing. 5.5, acceptance of appropriation cuts. And item 5.6, personnel. Do we have any revisions to the consent agenda items?
On the personnel roster, we have one retirement, Deb Johnson, who is a technology resource coordinator at Prairie View. We want to thank her for her 23 years of service to Goshen Community Schools and our students.
We thank, go ahead.
I'm sorry, item 5.5 is not actually
Attached.
on this time. So
Is it
that
not?
should just be noted.
Okay, so that needs to be removed.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So with the removal of item 5.5, the consent agenda items are approved as presented.
And just a question on the health insurance that the rates again for our self-funded plan have stayed the same for the 12th year in a row, 11th year in a row. That's fantastic. And I just want to commend everybody on that because that's just a whole team effort for people taking care of themselves and watching their health. And I really appreciate that.
All right, moving on to action items. And item 6.1, approval of classified and administrative wages. Dr. Hope.
So we have before you tonight, then, I'm asking for the approval for classified and administrative wages. As we talked about in discussion last week, and just an overview of these, all the classified employees will just move up a step on the classified wage scales, which were previously approved. This adds a wage scale for classified support staff or athletic ticket takers, increases the substitute nurse pay by $2, and gives a one-time stipend to classified employees of $150 for those employees who work the school year, $300 for bus drivers, and $400 for those employees who work the entire school year. EXEC will bring back to you in January. The EXEC board did meet and they have approved, but that was just yesterday or not yesterday, last Thursday. The days are blending together. So the average wage step increase for classified is 1.52%. And then we're asking for the additional modifications for classified staff, creating a new salary classified scale, allowing some flexibility for those positions and increasing efficiencies in those positions. All of this, including the admin changes, will result in overall savings of almost $90,000. And it will include a compensation increase for the Director of Human Resources Classified, Director of Facilities, Director of Transportation, and the Director of School Nutrition. An overview of all of those.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hope. Do we have a motion, please, for item 6.1? Moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion from the board on what has been presented. All right. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Say nay. Passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Moving on, item 7, we have no discussion items tonight, correct? Making sure it hasn't changed. All right, and moving on to item 8, closing items, and 8.1, miscellaneous board items. Anything from the board? I guess I would like just to, thank everyone publicly for this year that we've had. It's been a year that I think we will all be happy to forget at some point. But we first need to thank, obviously, all of our teachers and our staff and our building leaders from when we shut down, I looked on March the 16th to where we're at now. I mean, we've learned tremendously about what's happened. I think we've done better than any other district in our county with how we've tried to use the data and tried to do the best we can to support everyone. It has not been perfect. There is no perfect solution, but the leadership that we've had and the support that we've had all the way down to the building level has been fantastic. The parents have done what they can to support it as well. It's been a community effort. I think we should recognize that. It's been a heck of a year. We're not through this yet, but I think we need to look back the last 9 months and realize we're not doing too bad. I also want to publicly thank the board. It was a busy year for us. We thought, COVID, didn't even know about it. We thought superintendent search was going to be our big activity, and it kind of got put on the back burner for a while. But I think in the end, we're enthused with Dr. Hope leading our district. So we're looking forward to 2021 with that, Dr. Hope. So just want to say that. And hope everyone can enjoy the holidays a little bit. 8.2, miscellaneous administrative items.
I would just like to echo the same, just thank everybody, including this entire community. We have done very well, as bad as this pandemic is. As we head into the holidays, I do want to urge everybody, again, keep your social bubble small, stay at home if at all possible, be safe. Schools will continue if we can continue as a community to be safe. All that matters. So, want to wish everybody then a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and be safe.
All right, and moving on to 8.3. Do we have an adjournment? Do I have a motion, please?
Sure.
Been moved second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.